All right, today we're going to pull back the curtain on a company called Unzer. They're building what they call an all-in-one payments engine. And believe me, it's something that's really trying to shake up the world of commerce. So, at its heart, Unzer is a fintech company that's going after a massive headache for businesses everywhere. Their goal sounds simple, but it's incredibly ambitious. Create one single, unified platform to cut through all the noise and complexity of modern business. And this really gets to the core of the problem, doesn't it? I mean, put yourself in a merchant's shoes for a second. You've got your website, it's doing great. You've got a physical shop, people are lining up. You've even got a mobile app that's getting downloads. But behind the scenes, it can be an absolute tangled mess of different payment systems. It's kind of like trying to lead an orchestra where every musician is reading from totally different sheet music. So yeah, the huge question is, how on earth does one business manage all of that? To really get how Unzer is trying to solve this puzzle, we actually have to go back in time a bit. Let's take a look at their journey and how they became a pioneer in the payments world. Unzer's story is really all about evolution. It kicked off way back in 2003 as a German company called Heidelpay, which was a big deal in transaction management at the time. But things really kicked into high gear in 2019 when the global investment firm KKR came in with a major stake. Just a year later, they pulled all their different pieces together and rebranded as the Unzer we're talking about today. And 2024? Wow, that was a pivotal year. They finished a massive regulatory overhaul, basically getting the green light to hit the accelerator on their growth plans. So all those years of work, all that change, it was all leading to one powerful central idea. Let's really dig into their main strategy, what they call the unified commerce model. And this is the elegant solution to that messy orchestra problem we talked about. See, unified commerce isn't just about taking payments in a bunch of different places. It's about taking all those separate streams, your e-commerce site, your mobile app, your cash register or point of sale terminal, and weaving them together into one single seamless ecosystem. No more walled-off data, no more juggling a dozen different vendors. It's all right there in one spot. So how do they actually pull it off? Well, it's a pretty straightforward three-step model. First, they have a single API that handles all your online payments. Simple. Second, for the real world, they've got these modern Android-based terminals for your brick-and-mortar stores. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is in step 3. Every piece of transaction data from every single one of those channels all flows into one central platform. And just like that, a merchant gets a complete 360-degree view of their entire business. Okay, so that's the what. We get the big picture, but how does this whole engine actually run? Let's pop the hood for a minute and see what kind of technology is making all of this happen. You know, this quote from our source material just nails it. You really don't have to be a tech wizard to understand this. Just think of it as two big pieces that work together. You've got a super flexible API-first platform for everything digital, and then you have a modern Android-based system for all the physical in-store stuff. And if we zoom in a little closer, here's what merchants and their tech teams actually get to play with. We're talking about a really solid API platform that lets them plug their systems in easily, secure payment pages that are ready to go, making checkout smooth for customers, and a tokenization service, which is super important for keeping sensitive data safe. They even have a special API just for buy now, pay later options, and it all connects seamlessly to those slick, cloud-enabled Android devices in their stores. So, the tech is obviously impressive, but let's be real. The payment space is crowded. So in a market with so many options, what makes a business look at everything and say, yep, Unzer is the one for us? Let's unpack their core appeal. I mean, the difference here is just night and day. The old way, it meant juggling a bunch of different vendors, which leads to this frustrating mess of scattered data, painful integrations, and frankly, a lot more risk. Now, look at the Unzer way. It just simplifies everything. One provider gives you a unified view of every single sale, which means faster setup, and because compliance is built in, it takes a huge operational headache off your plate. It's the classic story of chaos versus clarity. And this isn't just some nice idea on a slide. This number right here, it tells a story. Unzer is trusted by over 70,000 merchants across Europe, and they've got a really strong presence in Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. You don't get that kind of adoption unless your model is really, truly solving a problem for people. Okay, now we get to a really fascinating part of Unzer's story. Let's look at how they took a massive challenge and actually turned it into one of their biggest strengths. It's a story of growth through compliance.
So, despite running into some pretty serious regulatory hurdles, Unzer's resilience is, well, it's pretty remarkable. Take a look at this number: over 206 million euros in revenue for 2023. Pulling in that kind of money, even while under a microscope, sends a powerful message about how healthy the underlying business is and just how much demand there is for what they offer. So what were these challenges exactly? Well, for a time, the German financial regulators, BaFin, had put some restrictions on their operations. But Unser didn't just ride out the storm. They basically rebuilt the ship. They poured a ton of investment into their governance and compliance systems over several years. And then, on October 31st, 2024, that ban was fully lifted. They've essentially turned what was a weakness into a major feature, positioning themselves as this incredibly trustworthy and secure partner for any business looking to grow. And that really brings us to the final thought here. Unzer's journey and their whole one-stop shop model, it raises a much bigger question for the entire industry. In a world where every single sale is absolutely critical, whether it happens on a phone or across a counter, is a single, unified platform like this the inevitable future of commerce for every business, big or small? That's a question I think every merchant out there is going to have to answer sooner or later.